Hello, I am Bert Janssen. Welcome back to the series of short videos in which I explain the book The Organizing Principle, There Are No Coincidences. In the previous video I talked briefly about Carl Gustav Jung. And in a future video I will go in great detail into Carl Gustav Jung and his very important work. But let's first go to the beginning, to where it all started. And that was the year 1994. In 1994 I spent my summer holidays in Italy, in the Dolomites, climbing and walking the so-called Via Ferrata, iron roads. I loved it, and I had bought my own Via Ferrata kit, and I was already planning on returning to the Dolomites. But coming back home in the Netherlands, something happened that would change my life forever. During my absence, newspapers had been delivered and they had formed a whole big pile. And while I was going through these newspapers, I was just randomly flipping the pages, not being really interested in old news. I came across a page, and especially a photo that touched me. It was a photo of a crop circle. Now in those days I didn't know anything about crop circles, and I also was not really interested in them. But the photo somehow touched me really deeply. In those days I was living in the town of Groningen, way up north in the Netherlands. And the crop circle was found just outside Assen, which was only 25 kilometers from where I lived. I felt this urge to have a look at this crop circle. In a way, it was calling me. The newspaper did not really mention the exact location of the circle, but I was sure I would find it easily. That was a mistake. I drove around for hours and hours and hours, and I could not find it. And finally there came that moment that I gave up. Seemingly this was not meant for me, and I stopped thinking about it. And it can be that that was crucial, me stopping thinking about it. I let it go. I took a road home which was not the shortest, but for some reason I took that road, and only a few minutes later I saw the circle sitting in the field straight ahead of me. I was totally shocked that I saw it sitting there. The fields were already harvested, but it was clearly visible in the stubble field. I parked the car, walked into the field, looked at the circle, and I was shocked again. Because what I was looking at was not the same that I had seen in the newspaper. The newspaper showed one single circle, while I was looking at a circle with 4 little circles around it. After a while I went back to the car, and arriving at my car I looked for the last time at the circle, and I was shocked again. Because I could not see it. There was nothing to be seen. I realized that the first time I was driving my car when I saw it. So I got in the car, drove the same stretch of road over and over and over again. But it was invisible. Yes, it was there. I even went back in the field to make sure. And yes, it was there, but you could not see it. Now, in hindsight, I know that that was a clear case of remote viewing. But in those days, I didn't know anything about remote viewing. And me taking the road home that I took, which was not the shortest road, was a kind of premonition. On an unconscious level, I knew which road to take. Now let's have a look at the circle itself. This is a diagram of the circle. And this diagram contains a very amazing hidden future. You can draw a square around the central circle. And you can construct a circle that just touches the 4 satellite circles. Now the amazing thing is that the perimeter of the square is identical to the circumference of the circle. It's called squaring the circle. Now the most amazing thing is that this concept of squaring the circle forms the core of many of Jung's mandalas. As already mentioned, they were based on 4-fold geometry, but nearly all of them had squaring the circle at their core. And remember, those mandalas made it possible that you could get access to your unconscious mind. You could get access to absolute knowledge. Other people will say you could trigger your 6th sense, as Joseph Banks Rhine did. And Rhine showed that this 6th sense is not held by space, by place, or even by time. So can it be that the shape that was sitting in the field, that the shape itself took care that I could see it, that I could remote view it? I somehow access absolute knowledge about its existence. Even me taking the road that I took, which was not the shortest road, was perhaps triggered by the shape in the field itself. Now realize that it is not relevant if this crop circle was man-made or not. All of Jung's mandala were man-made. They were paintings made by humans, and still they could give you access to your unconscious mind. They could tell you the state of your unconscious mind, and they would even alter your normal state of mind. So it is not relevant if the crop circle was man-made or not. It's not relevant what the circle was. Relevant is what the circle did. For me, it motivated me to go to England. England was considered the place to go to if you wanted to see crop circles in those days. Half of the circles worldwide were found in England. So I decided not to go to the Dolomites anymore, but to go to England in 1995. In the following videos, I will share some of the strangeness that I came across while being in England, and me noting that there was some sort of organizing principle responsible for all the strangeness that was crossing my path. I will see you in the next video.